Are you recording? Here we are. My favorite spot in Philadelphia, American Street Banks. Rest in peace. We spent a lot of time here. Mostly everybody that came from out of town would want to skate this. We would usually end up here most weekends, and the ground used to be horrible. It was practically gravel, so you couldn't really patch runways because it would just deteriorate too fast. So you just kind of had to deal with it and throw Bondo on cracks and just haul ass and hope it worked out. My favorite memory here is we were just messing around one day, and Mathis started poking back nose blunts over the stair set on the left side, and he was just playing around, but it looked like he could do it, and I Bondoed the top of the step just as a skim coat resurface so he could slide it, and then patched a few things on the bank. And the whole time while I was fixing it, he kept telling me to stop and that he didn't want to do it, but I just kept doing it, and I pretty much made him keep trying it, and he got it that day. And one of the local guys came out as kids were playing. He brought a handle of Captain Morgan out, and he landed his trick, and we all did shots, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Spent a lot of time here and a lot of Bondo. It's nice fixing up a spot and getting a trick, but it's really cool when you can fix it up, get a trick, and then the spot stays around and lasts longer, and you can watch your spot in other videos. Not that it's my spot, but this is the first larger project that I worked on. You can see the outline of it. It used to just be a little chute, and it would stop here, and you could kind of skate it like a hip. It was a bit of a reach, a little too abrupt, and you could stall the top. This is a spot we always ended up at. If we were skating up north, we would meet up here or just kind of end up here. So I decided to fix it up. I patched this side, added this part, and I fixed the ramp on the other side. I patched in between these Belgian block, wanting to lip slide across the top, airing out from the ramp, which I ended up doing, and then totally backlipped it, which is just crazy. I actually did this one in 2 phases, and then I patched the run up over here, which is starting to deteriorate a little bit. And my goal with this was to skim coat it enough that it was smooth to skate on, but I wanted some of the Belgian block to show through, which I kind of achieved, but it was hard to do just because of the state of the bank. The Belgian block's so uneven. When I was fixing this up, I thought it would be amazing if somebody skated the out ledge and came across the street and skated the bank. It was really cool to see Joey O'Brien and a few other people hit the out ledge and then the bank. It's awesome feeling like you got the ball rolling at a spot as far as fixing it, making it skatable. I didn't do this. Alder did front 180 switch crook in, which is insane. I've tried skating it. It's pretty gnarly, but it's really cool to see other people putting in the work. When I first moved to Philly, I feel like there were a lot of OG spots that were skatable and accessible. As I've lived here, Philly has changed a lot, and new architecture is getting safer and safer and less interesting. It's nice to find these architectural oddities that just need a little something to help them it's definitely pushed me and a lot of other skateboarders to think outside of the box and put some elbow grease in on things that have been there for a long time. Jake sent me a picture of this spot with the idea to make a ramp to wall ride. That was at the beginning of COVID. Threw it in. I underestimated how much concrete I needed, so I ended up grabbing a bunch of rubble from over there, stacking it up, coating over top of it. Used every last drop of concrete we had, and things loosened up a little bit. I came out with Jake, filmed 3 flipping the street and wall ride. I think that was in a traffic report. I don't like sign clips. I think the goal with this spot was just kind of level the playing field. If you throw some crete down, everybody has to hit it the same way. It doesn't matter how well you set up your sign and piece of plywood. I taped each individual brick off and mixed up Bondo and took my trowel and just skimmed across the whole thing. So grinds were possible. I don't know if anybody had grinded it before I did that, but since I did this, I mean, I think somebody Smith grinded it, which just wouldn't have been possible. This is a really unique setup. We would come and skate the cellar door, and it was always what if this thing was going. And I was working in the area, so going to and from work, I chipped away at it in stages. I never like to stay in one spot too long when I'm fixing up a spot. I stopped at a Home Depot and grabbed a rub brick just in case someone left footprints or whatever. And I drove by and somebody had walked on it, and it was a hot day. You can see the footprint right here. And then there used to be a handrail on the side here, and I cut 2/3 of the way through. That way you could just wiggle it and snap it off when we were ready to skate it. It's always nerve-wracking fixing up a spot, especially when it's in high traffic area like this. There's a constant flow of traffic. There's a corner store. People are in and out walking by, and you just never know what kind of problems you can have. And then, yeah, just hope that no one messes with what you've done and you don't get caught red-handed. Obviously, it's ideal if you don't have to do anything to it, but most things need some love, especially with all the unique things being very old and worn and weathered. Whenever I go to fix up a spot, I have to consider if it's been skated, what's been done, how it's been skated, and if what I'm doing is taking away from somebody else's trick that they worked for. I never want to make things overly skatable. I like when I make a spot and I know that there's a lot of tricks that are doable, but whoever does them will have to work for them, because that's the most gratifying part of skateboarding, is having to work through a spot.
Who's gonna tell